What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. In today's video, we are joined back in the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, and we're going to be continuing on to the preseason. I want to get you guys caught up on everything that we have done throughout the offseason and into the preseason. So the first thing that I want to go through is our draft recap, and I'm very excited for our draft class this season. So we have the 32nd overall pick. We were able to select Kenny Pickett, who somehow fell to the 32nd pick in the first round. He is a very, very good college football player right now, and I'm really looking forward to bringing him back to Pittsburgh. He can play at Heinz Field yet again. I have not edited his number. I can't tell you he's going to be wearing 8. We will get that all fixed up in a moment, but he is coming into Pittsburgh as a 74 overall hidden dev. His morale is down to 72 right now, but a really good first round draft pick. In the second round, we had our second round pick from the James Washington trade, which we used to select hidden dev left tackle Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. He figures to jump into the lineup and hopefully develop and protect Kenny Pickett early on. We also brought in rookie corner Josh Jobe with our own pick in the second round, pick 32 in that round, and that is going to be a 6'1" rookie out of Alabama. He's a man-to-man style of corner, and I think he's going to fit in well with what we do here on the outside in our defense in Pittsburgh. The next player that we decided to select was in round 3. This is a third round pick that I believe we got back from trading away Eric Ebron. We got in 6'9", 380-pound rookie tackle out of Minnesota, Daniel Falele. Hidden dev as well at right tackle, 66 overall starting overall. Now these guys are starting low overalls at the offensive tackles positions, but they do have those hidden devs, and I think that with the players around them, they should develop nicely in this system. The next player in this system with our actual third round pick is defensive end Ali Gay out of LSU. 69 overall. This is a very solid player. I think a player that may rotate on the outside with our outside linebackers. He looks like a very, very beastly player. 6'6", 250 pounds, 23 years old out of LSU, and he is a speed rusher type of archetype, so he fits right in with what we do on the outside of our defense on the edge. He's very much a Alex Highsmith, TJ Watt type of a player, so I think he'll fit in nicely with what we do. Next up in the 7th round, because the Steelers, I guess, don't have 4th, 5th, or 6th round picks. Maybe something happened there that I didn't realize, but our next pick was in the 7th round. I was looking to add depth at the wide receiver position, and I found Joseph Nata, who I believe might be a steal down here in the late rounds. You can see that he has 94 speed. This guy is built. He is a 6'3", 220-pounder. He reminds me a lot of Chase Claypool in his frame. He's out of Clemson, which we know the Steelers are able to find good young receivers in the later rounds, of the mid to later rounds out of colleges like this. They've done it with Clemson multiple times. 6'3", 220 pounds, rookie out of Clemson, 21 years old, deep threat receiver that has 94 speed. So he's looking to be a pretty good contributor. I think he will get reps this season. We'll have to see what he can do in preseason, but I like that pick a lot. And then our final pick was the Mr. Irrelevant pick 32 in the 7th round, Cordell Volson, left tackle out of North Dakota State. Now, he's only coming in as a 59 overall. More than likely, he will be a practice squad player, but he does look decent as a 24-year-old. Maybe he will be able to make the roster at some point. He is very strong, 90 strength. And he, his skill set may be able to do some things for us. I feel like he's, a decent player. He's got a lot of ways to go, but that strength could help us quite a bit. And he is very nice size at 6'7", 313 pounds. So there's certainly maybe some room for him on the roster. Next up is going to be our off-season free agent signings. We did decide to pick up Alec Ingold as a better fullback player because we do like to run the ball here in Pittsburgh, especially with the addition of Kenny Pickett competing for that quarterback job with Dwayne Haskins Jr., we're going to be running a lot of that football with these young guys at quarterback. So, we decided to go out and get a legitimate fullback prospect. At the wide receiver position, we brought in Kawan Baker, just a young wide receiver out of South Alabama, 6'1", 210, that might be able to compete for the wide receiver spot. We will be bringing in other free agents once we get to the UDFA phase here in preseason. At tight end, we didn't do much. On the offensive line, though, we were fortunate enough to be able to bring in Connor Williams, who is a high pedigree player out of Texas that I like quite a bit and will give us a lot of rotational value. And then early round pick Will Hernandez is going to come over to the Steelers out of UTEP, another early round pedigree type of a player that I like quite a bit, and I think he's going to serve us quite well. We also brought in defensive tackle Malik McDowell out of Michigan State. This is a guy that I liked quite a bit coming out of college. I think he fits in well with what we do here on the defensive line in Pittsburgh. He has the right size at 6'6", 315, to potentially maybe even take over at one of those spots on the D line. Very good block shed, very good power moves. He fits in well with what we're trying to do. We'll have to fix up his number, but this is one of my favorite moves that we made that was available to us there in the offseason. And then the final move here was being able to bring in Dante Jackson at cornerback. Now, there were 3 different cornerbacks that we made offers to, specifically Dante Jackson and Avonte Maddox were the ones that we were looking to target. They ended up declining, the others did, but Dante Jackson accepted, and he will come in and play for us on the outside. This is a guy that I've liked a lot. Obviously, LSU fan here, so I know quite a bit about him. Comes out as a 5'10", 180-pound corner. He's going to play on the outside for us. He's a little undersized for what we want him to do, but that's okay. He's got the athleticism to make up for it. This should allow Cam Sutton to bump into the slot position. Those are our offseason acquisitions, and I think that this team is looking really nice right now moving forward. I just want to put this in the video real quick. I had Derek Stingley confused with Kerry Vincent. Kerry Vincent is the player that we had that played really well for us. So I'm going to get this roster fixed up for us. I brought in quite a few other players to help compete for jobs, and I'll go ahead and run through everything with you here in a moment. All right, and so coming back around to the roster here that we will be going into preseason with and having some competitions with to see who can earn roster spots, we have Dwayne Haskins Jr., who is 25 years old, 74 overall, competing with Kenny Pickett, who is a 23-year-old, 74 overall. Now, Kenny Pickett is coming in with hidden dev. What I will say is Dwayne Haskins Jr. was an early round draft pick, and Dwayne Haskins Jr. performed really well last season whenever we played with him. So what I did was I gave him star dev to compensate. Now I will take that away from him if he loses the quarterback job, but I just want these guys to be on a bit of an even playing field. You can see that they are both 6'3", 220 pounds, so they are very evenly matched in most categories. I'm excited to see who can come out on top in this quarterback battle. What I did do, though, however, is I brought in Ben Roethlisberger on a 1-year deal. Ben Roethlisberger was sitting out there in free agency as after the draft and everything like that, and I kind of felt bad about the fact that he was sitting out there. I didn't want to let him go to another team. Now, I could retire him, but I think what I might do is I might try to go with the storyline that we tried to convince Ben Roethlisberger to come back and mentor the future of this team. He's done so much for this franchise. He just needs to captain the helm and get these quarterbacks on the right path to set this team up for the future. So Ben Roethlisberger is going to be around in the quarterback room for now until otherwise decided. At halfback, we have Najee Harris. We have Kalen Ballage. No surprise there. But we brought in, behind Anthony McFarland, even a rookie running back, Josh Davis, out of Weber State. He just looked to have a pretty good stat line. I kind of liked what I was seeing out of him. Now, this game is going to, unfortunately, set guys as captains that shouldn't be captains, but I think that'll round out our running back room. We already mentioned Alec Ingold. In the wide receiver room, what we decided to do was we decided to bring in veteran gunner Olszewski. This is a guy that I've used multiple times that I think could be a really good slot rotational guy for us. We already mentioned Nata, but what also I did here was I brought in a slew of other young receivers that I'm going to try to test out and give opportunities to, and that would be Danny Gray out of SMU, Jakari Robertson out of Wake Forest, Kawan Baker, we already mentioned, Josh Johnson out of Tulsa, Javon Hiley out of Coastal Carolina, and then Dontario Drummond out of Ole Miss. A lot of guys that have size and athleticism in combination with each other, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. At tight end, behind Pat Freiermuth and Zach Gentry, we brought in Ian Thomas, who's a player that I've utilized many times, but I think will offer quite a bit of value at that tight end position as a depth player that could maybe play some fullback and tight end for us. On the offensive line, we're going to have Dan Moore Jr., followed by Trevor Penning. Penning is going to most likely earn that starting spot, but we'll see. And then the rookie Cordell Volson. At left guard, we already mentioned Kevin Dotson and Connor Williams. At center is just Kendrick Green. At right guard is Trey Turner and Will Hernandez. And at right tackle is Daniel Falele, Zach Banner, Joe Haig, and Austin Deculus, who is a rookie out of LSU that we picked up. I don't know what's going to happen with Banner and Haig. I want to give them a chance to earn a roster spot, but more than likely they're both going to be gone, but they have the chance to earn the spot. At left end, we have Stephon Tuitt backed up by Isaiah Loudermilk, who played really well for us. At right end, Cameron Hayward backed up by Henry Mondo, who also played really well. And at D tackle, Harrison Phillips and Malik McDowell. Those two are going to be competing for that spot, and I think that's going to be a really good competition. At left end, we have TJ Watt, and we moved Ali Gay left outside linebacker to back up TJ Watt and learn from him. I think that's going to be a really good find for us. At right outside linebacker, we went with Alex Highsmith, and I went with Sharif Finch to back him up, someone with a little bit more experience and a little bit better of a skill set that I think has exactly what we want. At middle linebacker, we have Devin Bush and Joe Schobert, followed by Buddy Johnson and rookie Lakia Henry out of Ole Miss. I think this is a guy that I would like to maybe try to develop for the future and might be able to earn more time with this team than I think a lot of people might think. At cornerback, we have Dante Jackson and Kerry Vincent Jr., who will be on the outside. Cam Sutton is going to bump to the slot cornerback position. We have James Pierre in a backup role. Josh Jobe going to be fighting for playing time. And then we also brought in a couple of rookie UDFAs in Elijah Blades, Miles Jones, and Tariq Bracy to see if any of them can do anything. At free safety, we have Minka Fitzpatrick backed up by Troy Apke. At strong safety, Terrell Edmonds backed up by Lamont Wade out of Penn State. He is on the Steelers in real life. And then Chris Boswell, obviously, and Presley Harvin III. So very interesting roster, I think, going into this season. I think the main storyline here is going to be the quarterback battle and what happens with our offensive line at the tackle positions. Can these rookies with hidden dev take up the banner and win those starting spots, or will some veteran guys like Zach Banner or Joe Haig manage to eke out a roster spot and prevent that competition from taking over? I think at D tackle, we also have the storyline between Harrison Phillips and Malik McDowell, which should be interesting to see if we can't get anything going there. And then at cornerback, we do have a very nice battle. So Cam Sutton played really well for us on the outside last year, and Kerry Vincent played really well for us as a low overall as well. I gave him the necessary boost to get him up to where he should be based on his stats compared to everybody else. He played best out of any of the cornerbacks that we had. We'll see what happens between these three, and we'll also see what happens between the other guys on the roster to see if any of these guys can take up a meaningful role on the season. So hopefully you guys look forward to the future of this Pittsburgh Steelers franchise. If you guys do vote to continue this franchise in the comment section, I'll be continuing it regardless on my own, but make sure you guys comment on the previous video, the 2-hour video, and on this video, and let me know if you want to see this continue or you want to see a different franchise. If any of that's the case, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed this franchise. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and as always, I'll see you in the next one, and I hope you have a good one.